'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even, well, maybe just...
You made chocolate Christmas fudge? I want chocolate Christmas fudge as well, please.
Hi, welcome to Fandom Feast. My name's Mazarin, and if you follow me on Twitter at all, you'll know that I've actually been talking about a show called My Engineer for about the last 8 months, and who you just saw was Perth Nakhun. Perth is an actor who plays the character Ram on My Engineer, and he's most recently started a YouTube game stream, and I happened to mention that I made chocolate Christmas fudge on the stream, and that was his reaction. So I thought, since it is literally the day before Christmas, that I would put together a little bit of Christmas fudge for Perth and for all of you so you can see how easy it is and have something delicious for your Christmas. Everybody, let's make a fandom feast. So for our chocolate Christmas fudge, we need 1 stick of salted butter, 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, 14 ounces. It doesn't matter what brand it is. I just happen to have this one. 3 cups of chocolate chips, or if you want to use a chopped chocolate, like a semi-sweet or even darker, like a 60% or a 70% chocolate, that's also okay, but I would not go any lighter than this. There is a lot of sugar in that sweetened condensed milk, and so you're going to need the dark chocolate to balance out the flavor, or it's going to be too sugary and kind of flat and not chocolatey enough. You need vanilla, a little bit of salt, and you need a prepared pan. I use a pie plate just because I have one. You can use a 9x9 pan. You can use a round, any other kind of round cake pan you have, but you need to line it with foil and you need to butter the foil. If you don't butter the foil, it will stick and you will hate yourself because all of your fudge will have foil in it. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, to start with, we have 1 stick of butter melted in our pot on low heat. Add 3 cups of chocolate chips and let it stir. And be really careful with this because you don't want to burn the chocolate. You're putting this on direct heat. Direct heat will burn chocolate faster than anything. And you don't want any water in it because water will absolutely seize the chocolate and absolutely ruin it. And nobody wants that. I've done that 1 time, and I have never been more mad at myself in my entire life than I was when I seized up an entire pan of extremely expensive 72% cocoa chocolate that I was using to make espresso cupcakes. I was so ticked off. Then once that's sort of melted, it doesn't have to be completely melted. Always taste. Tasting is good. Don't ever forget that. Add your sweetened condensed milk. Sweetened condensed milk is an amazing invention someone came up with. I don't know when, probably 100 years ago. It's when people were doing a lot of things like this. My guess is probably to create some kind of preserved milk for either a war effort. And if I look back on it, it was some kind of a war effort that started that. Don't you think? Most canned goods come from war efforts. But you mix in all of that sweetened condensed milk and you stir over low heat until it's nice and smooth. And as you stir it, you'll see that it starts to get shiny and it'll start to pull away from the pan. And you have to be kind of careful because that means it's starting to cook. That's okay. A little bit of cooking's okay. But you're not making candy. This is not a making candy exercise. When you boil sugar down to certain temperatures, it will either set up hard or soft depending on the temperature that you set it to. almost. This doesn't take long. When I say that it's easy to make fudge, it is incredibly easy to make fudge if you do it like this. My grandmother has a recipe that's, oh gosh, she would have been 101 this year had she still been alive. But she has a recipe that she always used, and you do cook it like that. Ah, there we go. See what I mean? See how it's starting to pull away? That's what you want. You want that. But anyway, her recipe you do cook. And that recipe is probably 75 years old at least, if not older than that. It's an old-fashioned candy fudge. This is more of a we're all busy and have other things to do with our lives than make candy kind of recipe. But it's also incredibly simple. I mean, any kid that has reasonable experience in the kitchen can do this. And that includes Perth. I'm kidding, Perth. You actually do cooking, so that's fine. Ah, there we go. It's nice, sticky, chocolatey mass. But once that's done, turn the heat off. Pull it off of the heat, which I can do because I have a granite countertop. Add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Don't do that on the heat. Vanilla is actually steeped in alcohol. And if you use real vanilla, you can evaporate the flavor very quickly. So once you're done working the vanilla in, now I like my fudge and my chocolate with a little bit of salt. So I'm putting in, I mean pinches, you can see this. This is tiny. This is a little bit of kosher salt. Because I find that if you make a lot of sweets and those sweets don't actually include salt, they taste flat to me. And I don't enjoy it. I don't eat much chocolate anymore anyway, but I do eat this. And it's wonderful. Aha! We are done. Now you pour the entire thing. And it should slide out of your pan very easy because there's so much butter in this. Oop. Spread it in the plate. Nice and smooth. See? Like this. And then you let it chill for 2 hours. And it's a hard 2 hours. Don't try to sneak in there and do it early. Don't try to take the paper off before it's cold. If you do, it'll just tear it apart. This has to be cold, and then you should keep it in the refrigerator because if you don't, it will get very soft. I mean, you can leave it out if you're trying to serve your friends or your family and you want to have it out on a plate. That's fine. It's not going to go bad, but it'll get so soft that you won't really be able to do anything with it. So this in the fridge, 2 hours, no less. No, neither count thou 5 or 3, 2. The number of the counting shall be 2. Okay, 2 hours later, actually more like 4 hours later, we have fudge. You can see how easily the aluminum foil peels off. See, piece of cake. And then you can cut it whatever sizes you want. And there's one about the size my child would eat. Then you can just cut it. It's kind of a pain, but worth it. And it will even get more solid than this, but you need to have it at least this solid to cut it or it's gonna just be gooey. I hope that yours turned out as well as this one did. There you go. Fudge. I should be starting the channel sometime around January, and I'm thinking the first thing I might actually do is for Mew Gulf fandom. I'm probably gonna make stir-fried pork with basil because that's Gulf's favorite, and it's actually very easy. The more you look into some of these recipes, the easier they get. So join me on Fandom Feast. Please like, comment, subscribe, and as my friend JLC says, and share. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I hope you enjoy it. Make yourself some fudge. Let me know how it goes. Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year.